Okay, I guess it's time to start. I get that we have plenty of people on the call. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Nikita, and thank you for joining our webinar today. I am the CEO of Zebrunner, and if you've never heard about Zebrunner before, we develop a modern test management platform that is suitable for teams of all sizes and domains. And the platform features a modular design that combines the functionality of traditional test case management system and advanced capabilities for automation team. And basically, this allows you to prioritize automation within your QA strategy. So basically, if you are in search of a test management system for your project or simply curious about the latest developments, please visit our website and check it out. We have a free trial, no credit card is required, or you can simply book a demo and we will be there to tell you all about it. With that being said, today I am excited to launch our new series of webinars featuring guest experts who will share their knowledge and perspectives on modern quality assurance. And I am pleased to present our first speaker, Ariadna Trueba from sunny Barcelona. Ariadna is the QA Technical Director in Parser, and I guess today we will learn something about defining a QA strategy. Ariadna, the floor is all yours.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Nikita, for the presentation. And thanks to Zebrunner for this opportunity on the Expert Series webinars. And thank you, all of you, for attending this first webinar. As I could be talking hours and hours about quality, strategies, implementations, I would like to focus this short talk on giving you some main tips and details about what to take into consideration when start planning your QA strategy and its implementation. So first and quick, let me present my person. So my name is Ariadna Trueba, Quality Technical Director. I'm a company Parser, and I have a long experience in the quality side, manual and automation testing experience with different frameworks, programming languages, web, mobile apps. I am always trying to know something else. And I also have experience in the quality documentation side for regulatory aspects, audits, compliance. And all these years gave me experiences and knowledge. And since I became a planning and a strategy specialist, now I assess clients about quality, preparing strategies, and leading QA teams to achieve the best confidence of the product through the proper quality strategy to follow. As I love my job and I am really confident about what I do also speakings like this one, and hoping that some of my shared experiences could help other people, like in this case. But let's get on the important things here and let's see what I'm going to share. So this is the agenda. We'll see how to start planning our quality assurance strategy, how to start implementing it, how to identify in advance any inconveniences in our planning, defining clear goals and objectives through the allocation of proper resources. Then, in order to build a strong foundation of our QA implementation, we must provide and impulse the quality principles, especially when we try to leverage automation effectively through different testing strategies and being continuously integrated and tested, no matter what changes. Finally, how to keep improving our strategies, how to use KPIs to track progress, how to establish effective communication with our team members, and how to keep refining our better results. So let's start with the planning and prioritization, okay? We need to be able to answer a lot of these questions before start planning. If we are asked to start building a quality assurance implementation, our first thoughts are something like, we have to test features, but we have deadlines, so we will need to implement a test strategy, but we will need to plan our test before starting. All of those questions go around in our head and sometimes overwhelm us. So let's start with simple questions, something like, what do we need to plan and prioritize? What do we need to test? So is there web, apps, specific features? Make a list, check the requirements about what is needed to be tested and what is needed to be planned. Where are we going to test the planned tasks? Which environments, using which tools, using which team? So check the needs and the resources needed. When are we going to execute it? during the development, after, before. So you see here, the planning starts. Who is going to do it? Our team, cross teams. You are starting to think about the organization. Good, good, let's continue. How are we going to plan and prioritize? How are we going to test it? Think about the roadmap, the deadlines, what is important to deliver earlier or later. Why do we need to plan? Why prioritize the tested plans? Why test is needed? So this is like the final question, right? Let's join all the answers together. Answering all those questions will provide you a wider overview and thinking about the needed plan. Our strategy and planning implementation depends on these first initial questions to be answered. But so what do I need to consider when preparing my plan? We need to see like the whole picture. Let's get a bit deeper into that. We have the initial question, right? So we have evaluated the work to be done. We answered the previous questions. Now let's identify the roles and responsibilities that will be involved in my plan and prioritization. Which will be my team? Who is needed? Which skills are needed in order to fulfill my previous questions? Set the goals, the specific objectives, and keep deadlines in mind. We cannot deliver everything. We cannot satisfy everyone, every asking. We must prioritize what is really needed and at what point of the whole picture, of the whole roadmap. Communication. We must prepare our team. Everyone shall have the same information, be on the same page, know the goals, the objectives, and deadlines, and work all together as a team. It's time to implement the process through all the answers we got and start executing it. And this is really important. Readjust, improve the plan, evaluate if what you planned is providing the expected results. So we saw the specifics on the quality strategy planning. Now we must go up in the whole picture and think about outer needs to consider. Now that you know what you have to do, you must ensure that you are still meeting the requirements and expectations. Think as a user. We all are users from any software we use. Start following the strategy you prepared and keep track of the progress. Keep working on the strategy. Review the test stages with your team once you are getting deeper in the implementation, and especially during the execution. Don't forget to document everything, not only the strategy, but updating it for any change. Document your tests, evidence as much as possible. Do regular checkpoints. Check and try. Try to predict any deviation or delay. That's why checkpoints are really important. It's better to reprioritize if needed in earlier stages than making it any change closer to deadline or with your work really advanced. It's costless, it's cost effective if you do it earlier. And repeat the cycle. Recheck the requirements and expectations from time to time. In my experience, any planning you do at the very beginning will require a reprioritization at some point. So we're not truth tellers. We cannot predict the future. Unexpected changes happen like per requirements or new expectations or even team members' status. Somebody gets sick or leaves the company, so you lose track on the roadmap. Unpredictable situations happen, but we can be prepared to affront them. Be ready for adjustment. That is the proper approach when planning. But at that point, during this kind of presentations or trainings, people ask me, this is super cool, this is super interesting, but how can we start implementing it? How can I start putting everything you said into a strategy? How to. So lots of questions in your head, right? You may have a clear idea on the previous things I explained, but the difficulty here is putting everything into a solid documentation and procedure, right? So let's see an idea. What should be included in your QA strategy during the planning? These graphs really help people to understand how to put in place every aspect of the strategy and how to focus on the implementation. So let's see step by step. Define the test scope. Those are the objectives of the test, which will be our main goal, assuring the quality of the product, right? Which different objectives do we have? When we need them ready? Deadlines. What we need to take into account? Think about requirements, team, resources. Start with this part. You can review it and change it later, but giving answer to those previous questions at least will provide you a first clear idea of what is needed to be done. Plan the test. Analyze the code to decide the level of testing to provide the maximum value. Database level, business logic level, like unit testing, integration testing, components, API level, or UI level. Other tests like usability, functionality, reliability, performance, security can be also considered, depending on the objectives. The type of the test we are going to include in our strategy depends on those answers. Analyze the rules and guidelines to follow when writing and running the test, deciding the framework to be used. But really important at this stage is that you should review your team experience with coding and testing, as well as the type of the architecture of the code it's going to be built on. So you see, we are again giving answers to the main questions previously seen. In every iteration, we are going deeper. We are getting more specific answers. So let's continue. Creation and execution of the test cases. Now it's time to think about the test case creation. It is super recommended to follow some of the best practices, such as designing a test case template to be reused, test the specific parts, don't mix everything in the very beginning until you get used to it and gain valuable experience doing that. Select and prioritize parts to be tested. Perform pair programming and pair testing, if possible, at the very beginning to ensure right coding and high coverage. You must also detect the right testing tools and environments. To do that as efficiently as possible, it is important to take some parameters into consideration. Think about the requirements of the platform and where your test will be executed. So the application where testing will be performed, the language and environment supported by the tool. So, and also super important, consider again, testers' experience as well. For example, for mobile apps, there are options like using Appium or cloud-based mobile tools, depending on the platforms, iOS or Android. For web applications, there are other tools like Selenium, Complete, Playwright, Cypress. For API testing, there's Catalan, Soap UI, Postman, Rest Assured, and also depending in the language to be used, so Java, JavaScript, .NET, C#, Python, or even the approach to follow when writing the test. If you are going to use BDD, focus on the requirements. You are going to use TDD, focus on the quality scenario, or DDD, focus on the domain scenario. So which of these tools you are going to choose depends on the answers from the previous questions. Also super important, keep documentation up to date. If requirements change, or you find a better approach, or you are refining the tests, evidence of what is being changed and tested. Everything relevant to your test plan, strategy, and implementation shall be documented. Take ownership, assign responsibilities, and by the end, a recommendation here, deliver a test report where everything related to our test and quality implementation has been done, demonstrating our value. All of this will help you on identifying bottlenecks. A proper strategy periodically being checked will avoid most of the common problems we do have in our teams. Knowing and preparing resources needed, allocating them, depending on the skills, aligning objectives, and prioritizing new incomes. But, quality is something not visible most of the time. Developers implement, and you see what it's being done, right? But quality, everybody assumes that everything shall be working by default. The thing is, behind that, there is a lot of work from designers and product people who set up the basis of the product, like look and feel, requirements, customer expectations, to the developers who implement those specifications, going through a quality gate that assures everything is working as expected and follows the customer expectations. And the ops team, responsible sometimes of the packaging, all in a single place to deliver. So, as you see, all of those members are parts of the process on building and moving the same wheel. Quality is not only testing, it's assuring the expectations are met. It's being proud of our work done and delivered. It's achieving our goals as a team. Quality is understanding needs. As I said, we are users. We must assure that our strategy is contemplating those needs, meeting the expectations. What do you expect when you are using a mobile app? Which purpose are we expecting from that? We must assure we have that focus too. Quality is controlling misalignments, a balance between needs, expectations, and implementations. Quality is detecting, adapting, replanning, reprioritizing, go back and rethink, and do it better. Be able to step back for a second and refine. Quality is working all as a team, together. Everyone is involved. Strategic planning for quality also includes assessing and understanding the problems, emphasizing the importance of carefully reviewing the existing process, identifying those pain points, and understanding the specific needs and goals. Clearly defining the quality objectives and goals that our strategy aims to achieve. Explain the process. Communicate properly. Involve the team. Allocate resources, time, materials, people. Know your people. Know their skills. Help them by training them. Evaluate tools and technology. Use what's better appropriate to achieve your goals. Make the strategy possible. Be realistic. Anticipate by learning from previous experiences or mistakes, lessons learned. Readjust and improve. Keep assessing during the process. It's better to amend and adapt it in advance than try to fix it when it's too late in the process. And super important, work as a team. Let's now go deeper into the quality strategics, okay? So, we need to establish a strong quality foundation to be able to make our strategy stronger under a robust fundamentals. Promote the quality principles by ensuring that the team comprehends and implements best practices to consistently deliver top quality results. Foster knowledge enhancement and advocate for the adoption of effective practices. Harness automation efficiently. Evaluate how test automation can optimize the QA process. Maximize automation and integrate both shift left and shift right testing approaches. And last but not least, incorporate continuous integration and continuous testing. Highlight the importance of the continuous integration and continuous testing within an agile context. Establish process for continuous improvement and ongoing research into testing, including exploration of new tools and techniques. Let me present that from all of my experience, I collected some of the main quality principles that seems to be the most important ones when trying to plan and implement a QA strategy. let me show you here. This is like some of the more main importance that I just collected, but there are others. So everything depending a bit on your quality strategy, on the product that you are building, and so on. But let's focus on these 6 that I just wanted to present here. So first, quality is not only QA's responsibility. And for that, we need everyone engaged. Act as a whole team. No isolated teams. Enhancing teams' collaboration and communication is one fundamental requirement. Have a strong sense of strategy. Testing activities shall not be sequential. Simplify answers to the main questions and sort out your ideas. Think about a strategy before starting one. Use not long frames periods for testing. Keep it simple. Split it. Disaggregate it into smaller pieces. Learn and adapt new techniques, also like Agile, including DevOps, like shift testing. We'll see later that. Keep measuring your efficiency and effectiveness. Readjust, rethink if needed. It's not wrong to do it. Keep the customer focused. Think as a user. What would you be expecting if you were a user of the product that you are testing? Documentation, evidence, everything. Select that documentation that is really relevant under the testing side. So strategy, plans, testing evidence, and for sure, continuous integration and testing, which involves improvement cycle, cross-functional testing, and enhancing test automation incorporation. So for the test automation success, the implementation of the success of the implementation, everything begins with assembling skilled teams, equipped with appropriate tools and environments tailored to their needs. Rather than overwhelming with lots of different frameworks, approaches, test plans, teams should adopt a gradual approach, recognizing that progress is achieved through consistent effort. So perfection is not the goal. Instead, teams should focus on continuous improvement, delivering valuable results initially and demonstrating ongoing progress over time. Embracing a cross-team strategy. Incorporating test automation early on ensures efficiency, but it's essential to keep automation manageable and prevent it from becoming unmanageable, of course. So in an agile environment, the testing process is as dynamic as the development itself. Automation testing like spanning APIs, microservices, unit tests, databases, validation, is strategically organized around features and scenarios, ensuring comprehensive coverage. Continuous integration orchestrates a consistent delivery by breaking down development into manageable phases, while continuous testing maintains a steady commitment to quality, never giving away nor halting in its pursuit. This dedication extends to testing new requirements and code, inspecting carefully each build and deployment, and even venturing into production environments when necessary. So embracing both shift-left and shift-right testing philosophies, this approach ensures that quality is settled at every stage of the development lifecycle. Let's see what shift-left testing is. So this involves careful requirements and code evaluation at early stages, as well as strict testing every build to catch issues, ensuring quality integration with every build iteration. So for example, in agile development, teams may conduct unit testing as soon as code is written, allowing for immediate identification and resolution of defects. By catching issues early, shift-left testing helps reduce the cost and time associated with fixing defects later in the development process. And for the shift-right testing, on the other hand, involves extending testing activities beyond the traditional boundaries of development and into production environment. This approach focuses on monitoring and testing software in real-world usage scenarios, often leveraging techniques such as A/B testing, canary release, and user feedback analysis. So for instance, a company might release a new feature to a small subset of users and monitor their interactions to gather feedback and identify any unforeseen issues before rolling out the feature to a wider audience. By incorporating real-world data and user feedback, shift-right testing helps validate assumptions, improve user experience, and mitigate risk associated with production deployment. So together, these complementary approaches fortify the development pipeline, facilitating proactive identification and rectification of issues across the entire software lifecycle. In the landscape of distributed testing strategies, a multitude of options abound, so offering flexibility and adaptability to diverse organizational structures. These strategies often enclose the establishment of tribes, chapters, and guilds, each representing distinct types of test teams, which specialize in focus and objective. So for example, tribes. Tribes incorporate compatible cross-functional teams, uniting individuals with diverse expertise and skill sets to tackle the whole testing goal. For example, this can include testers, automation engineers, quality analysts, and other related roles. Chapters foster knowledge sharing and skill development within specific domains, nurturing expertise and proficiency among team members. For example, there could be a test automation chapter consisting of automation engineers who specialize in developing and maintaining automation testing frameworks and scripts. Another chapter might focus on performance testing, comprising experts who specialize in assessing the performance and scalability of software applications. These chapters provide a platform for knowledge sharing, skill development, and collaboration among members with similar interests and expertise. And guilds, on the other hand, serve as a community of practice, promoting collaboration and innovation across the organization, transcending traditional hierarchy boundaries. A testing guild could bring together individuals from the quality assurance tribe, as well as developers, product managers, and other stakeholders who have an interest in testing practices and quality assurance. So, altogether, these distributed testing strategies empower organizations to harness the collective talent and capabilities of their teams, driving efficiency, innovation, and excellence in testing practices. By the end, it's really important having a good test automation architecture. But what for? For maintainability, for example, it ensures that when modifications are required, the associated costs do not exceed those of implementing new features. And automation tests maintained should not be overly consuming testing resources. For performance optimization, which involves maximizing the utilization of machine resources while strategically prioritizing tasks to mitigate potential performance issues. For learnability, which facilitates through the use of consistent standardized terminology across the project, fostering rapid comprehension among users. Clear, concise, and periodically updated documentation further enhances understanding and ensuring that the system is effectively designed to meet requirements. For reusability within a test strategy architecture is most important, enabling adaptability, scalability, and effortless transition to new methodologies or technologies. Such a system not only streamlines the development of new test cases, but also simplifies the maintenance of existing ones, ultimately saving significant time and effort. And finally, interoperability, leveraging open standards and APIs, along with effective integration across various operation systems, ensures smooth interoperability, fostering collaboration and enhancing overall efficiency in testing processes. All of these aspects under the foundation levels to build a strong QA plan and leveraging a good automation strategy are basic. The strongest, the baseline, the effectivest, the strategy. You can use those that I presented here, but there are more. You can use what you think it's more approach. It's more best suitable for the approach that you are taking for your QA strategy. Let's go for the final step, which is like continuous improvement. So, how to keep track of our progress? How to evaluate if we are following what we defined in our plan? How we can measure it? Let's see some ideas. Metrics and key performance indicators, commonly known as KPIs, serve as an essential tools in evaluating that efficiency of a QA strategy. Some of those KPIs can evaluate specific indicators in different parts of the process. So let's see some examples. As I said in the very beginning, all of the examples that I'm just presenting here are some of them. It's a collection of the whole that are present into the market, into the quality by itself. So you can choose what is better, what's suitable for you to be using. So let's see some of them. Test defects density allows pinpointing areas with elevated defect rates, enabling focus efforts on improvement priorities. Assessing test cases effectiveness reveals inefficiencies or redundancies, guiding enhancements in the testing strategy for optimized outcomes. The ratio between automated and manual tests offers insights into resource allocation and testing efficiency. Also, tracking test execution time and mean times for detection and resolution illuminates workflow efficiency and identify areas for streamlining. Additionally, monitoring technical debt provides visibility into the long-term sustainability of the testing process. And metrics related to continuous integration, continuous testing, and continuous deployment offer valuable insights into the overall agility and effectiveness of the development pipeline. So those are some examples for measuring progress. But at the end, any kind of metric and KPIs empower teams to make informed decisions, continuously improve process, and deliver higher quality software products. Another aspect for measuring the progress and keep the improvement is the communication and feedback. Effective communication and feedback mechanisms are pivotal in fostering collaboration and synergy between development and QA teams. Established feedback loops ensures a continuous exchange of insights, concerns, and suggestions, nurturing a culture of openness and transparency. Active listening and empathic engagement are key components in this process, allowing team members to understand each other's perspectives and needs. Active listening, feedback, and their positive impact are the cornerstone of effective collaboration and team dynamics. By actively seeking feedback, teams can clarify objectives, align priorities, and address challenges, ultimately building trust and affinity. Providing constructive feedback promotes growth and improvement, empowering individuals to refine their skills and contribute meaningfully to the team's objectives. Moreover, the reciprocal exchange of feedback cultivates a culture of trust and mutual support, where every voice is valued and every contribution is recognized. Ultimately, by prioritizing active listening and feedback, teams can harness the collective intelligence and creativity of their members, leading to enhanced problem solving, innovation, and overall success. However, certain practices can hinder communication and teamwork. Pressure, unforeseen events, and sudden replanning disrupt workflow and corrode morale of the team. Working in silos further intensify these issues, impeding collaboration and hindering progress. By avoiding these pitfalls and prioritizing effective communication and feedback, teams can enhance engagement, productivity, and overall success. Then we must emphasize the need for adaptability in QA strategies as part of the continuous improvement process. In today's rapidly evolving landscape, the concept of quality must undergo significant transformation, not just to survive, but thrive. Embracing automation is predominant, streamlining the process, increasing efficiency, and gaining the ability to scale with demand. Furthermore, expanding skill sets beyond traditional boundaries is essential, empowering teams to tackle diverse challenges and seize emerging opportunities. Adopting an agile mindset enables organizations to respond swiftly to changing market dynamics, ensuring they remain nimble and adaptable in the face of the uncertainty. Above all, prioritizing customer experience is non-negotiable, as it forms the foundation of the sustained success. Another important part of the continuous improvement is the continuous learning and adaptability, which are key pillars in this transformation journey. Staying updated with industry trends, experimenting with new approaches, and seeking feedback are critical for remaining relevant and competitive. We must be willing to readjust these strategies and process based on insights gained, constantly striving to improve and innovate in pursuit of excellence. Through this persistent commitment to learning and adaptability, organizations can not only survive but thrive in an ever-changing landscape. Effective collaboration and communication skills are fundamental to success in any team environment. I previously remarked that. To foster teamwork, individuals must cultivate open communication channels, encourage active participation, and establish a culture of mutual respect and support. Effective communication involves not only articulating ideas clearly, but also listening carefully to others' perspectives. Building strong relationships within the teams and across departments is essential for fostering trust, cooperation, and synergy. Moreover, bringing gaps between different team members or even departments promotes alignment of goals and facilitates smoother workflow. And finally, embracing AI in testing, which represents a significant opportunity for enhancing testing capabilities and efficiency. To effectively leverage AI, individuals must first acquire a fundamental understanding of AI principles and technologies. Experimenting with AI tools and techniques allows teams to explore innovative approaches to testing and to identify opportunities for automation. By incorporating AI into testing processes, teams can enhance test coverage, improve accuracy, and accelerate testing cycles. However, it is crucial to remain vigilant about ethical considerations, ensuring that AI technologies are used responsibly and transparently. Overall, embracing AI in testing offers immense potential for adapting the quality and effectiveness of the software testing practice. But in any case, embracing AI should only happen once you are really experienced on the planning and implementation of several quality assurance strategies, as the experience will bring you more insights on getting the better decisions about incorporating AI to your QA strategies. So, as a summary, just remember that to start planning our QA strategy for implementation, think about what is the main goal, which are the principal objectives to achieve it, Decide your resources and put the strategy in place to be followed. Lead the way. Build a strong baseline by establishing and propagating the quality principles. Enhance automation utilization. Integrate the test in early stages from the very beginning until the end and beyond. Quality is everywhere and never ends. Finally, refine. Keep improving. Establish indicators, KPIs to keep progress, to evaluate the strategy, to refine, to readjust, rethink if needed. Improvement is never enough. And communication. Communicate everything with your teammates. Be an active listener and a good communicator. Accept feedback and promote communication channels to get better ideas for improvements. Build your quality plan under a solid, robust, and cycled implementation strategy. Good is never good enough. So thank you everyone for attending this short webinar. I hope that you like it. And well, if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. By the way, you have here my link to LinkedIn, so we can connect anytime.
Thanks, Ariadna. That was great. So yeah, I mean, for those of you in the audience, just send us your questions and we will be able to answer those live. I see that one question was asked while we were like conducting the webinar itself. So Robin is asking, like, while shifting left and right would be nice, there's obviously a cost. How can we be efficient about it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of approaches. You can approach here. I presented here the shift left and shift right. So you need to decide, depending on the resources that you have, of course, depending on the size of your team, you need to decide which of the tests are going to be done by which type of engineers, developers, QAs, business analysts, or even stakeholders could be. So depending also on the stage of this testing. So imagine, for example, that if you decide that on the left testing, you said that developers are going to implement and test the unit testing and components testing. Then your QAs could add like the integration testing, double check, incorporate the automation there, incorporate like end-to-end testing. And for example, if on the right testing, on the environment side, you have stakeholders or you have people from business analysts or from product who can also test this part. You can deliver a small build in production or even just enabling only for a subset of users, and you gave access to them and they can test it, even as a user's perspective. So it's not needed to just only use your engineers. You can also ask cross teams in order to do that. And as I said, you can use developers, VAs, stakeholders, product. So it depends on where are you going to perform this test and who can perform them.
Thank you, Ariadna. Robin, let us know if that answers your question, please.
Yeah.
So I see there is another question from Sanjay. So the question is about career in manual testing, I believe. Like, is there no growth in career as a manual tester? Is it mandatory for automation?
Yeah,
like
this is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the main questions for people that it's like manual. It's not a must. I mean, of course, there are like two types of QA engineers. It's like manual and there's automation. Always there will be a part of the QA stat that should be done like manually. I mean, automation tests cannot cover 100%. There's the focus on the human relative human eye, is the customer focus, what you see, what you're testing. It depends on everyone. So the more that you know, the better. I mean, if you can in the meantime so just learn automation testing, you can, like, for decide one single technology and framework and get starting using that. And you can say that you have like experience under the QA manual testing, and you have some experience on the automation side, or at least you are learning on how to achieve this part of the automation side. But yeah, technologies and market are changing. It's obviously that we need to adapt ourselves. That's like a must. As I said, right now there's the AI technology going around, and you need to know more about how to handle it, how to manage, how to implement it, and so on. So I always suggest that don't take it, or don't remain only on the side that you are like most comfortable with, if this is automation or this is manual or whatever. But start learning more. Start learning how are the market trends, how is the market changing, how are the companies changing. So even that, if you are a QA automation and you are really focused on one single or a couple of frameworks and technologies, why not learning more about that? What can you do with that? So I suggest always that don't give it up and just learn more things.
Yeah, I guess the idea is to challenge yourself, guys. So, I mean, there is like a second part of this question. So basically, if someone is about to start an automation, so what would be like the best way to start? Like, should it be Python? Should it be Java? Focus on web or focus on mobile? Any like suggestions there?
Depending on how the code is based. I mean, if the developers are, or the framework, the product is going to be focused on a web, you will need to check which kind of framework you are going to use on the automation side for a web. If you are, if the implementation is going to be done for a mobile application, you will need to change like this focus, this approach. You will need to search, find which would be the best framework and language to be used. So as I said, for example, if you are going to test mobile application, there's Appium there, and you could use, for example, like cloud-based mobile simulators to test it there. And also you can just select some specific frameworks for the UI testing. If you are doing like the web application, and depending on the baseline of the code that they are implementing it, you can change, or you can select if you are going to be using like Selenium or Cypress. So it depends. So you need to evaluate how the architecture is, the code, where it's built on, also depending on if you are working with a specific client or customer, that they do have a specific architecture, or do they have like a specific constraints about what you can use. So it's not as simple as, okay, just Selenium and that's it. You need to evaluate what's better depending on the architecture that you have for the product that you are going to test it.
Thank you, Ariadna. So the next question is from Ahmad, and basically it's about this statement, right? Automate as much as possible. So how can we measure the efficiency of automation? I mean, like Ahmad is saying that some tasks can be done swiftly manually rather than like using automation. So how exactly can we measure the efficiency of automation?
Automate as much as possible. It's to make our lives easier, not doing everything like manual. But it is true that some kind of specific test scenarios are easier to be done like manually. So you need to evaluate the coverage of your automation test suite by depending on the features that you are like automated, that you are testing. So you need to, like as I say, like split it into features, for example, or parts under this application or product. And then let's say this is like the 90% of the product being done by automation. Okay, which part is being done by backend testing, which part is being done by UI testing. There's also like tools that help you to check the coverage. But if you don't have this kind of tools, at least you need to make sure requirements and specifications that you are covering through the automation test. This will give you like an idea if those tests are being covered, all of those requirements, and which part of those requirements are the 90% of the requirements being tested by automation, are being tested by manual, and you can have like an idea. You can just, there's some ratios that you can use in order to have like how many requirements and specification I have, how many test case scenarios do I documented, and how many test case scenarios do I implemented into automation testing. So you can use all this information to build the coverage that you are like implementing. And for sure, you can say that you could deliver percentage of this quality through these indicators.
Thank you, Ariadna. So the next question is about, like automation testing tools, right? So the question is about like, what are the best automation testing tools in IT industry, in your opinion, I guess?
Depending on the product. I mean, I cannot use Selenium for the product that I need to test, because I would like to have my quality strategy approach on end-to-end testing, and it could be easier for me or for my teams who are really specialized in JavaScript to use Playwright or to use Cypress. They are more experienced they have their own skills are under the JavaScript. And if my code, if the product itself allows me, I can use that. So it really depends, as I said, the selecting the best tool to automate depends on the code, the architecture, the team that you have, the skills that they have. So it's not the same that you have like a team of juniors, mid-levels, seniors in some specific technologies that you don't. You need to work on the resources that you have, the product that have been built in that case, and also like deliverables, deadlines. So if you have like a really strong deadline coming in, you will need for sure utilizing a framework that you are get more used to, or your team is more get used to work with it. And it could be easier to deliver earlier to accomplish the deadline. So it depends. You need to evaluate every point in the process in order to better decide which is like the best technology or framework or automation tool to use.
Thank you, Ariadna. So we have another question from Julia, and it's about new methodologies or approaches in testing. So basically, what are the new methodologies and approaches in testing that are becoming popular, in your opinion, based on your experience and observations?
Mm-hmm. Methodology, as I said, agile. Curious thing here is that most of the company would say, hey, we're working on agile, but they're really not. I mean, you know that agile, you can set up like a specific sprint iteration with a specific weeks. You can set up between 1 and 4. So it's not like written in stone and to have like 2 weeks to sprint. And you need like to follow like a roadmap and have like some iterations, and work with all the user stories that you have implemented there, you have been writing there, divide if this is developers, QA, who is going to market, follow that, deciding hours, estimating hours, but the reality is that there's more companies than expected that they are like using agile, but they're not. But answering your question is that agile is the one methodology that it's being commonly used. And for approaches is like right now, shift left and shift right testing are like the more commonly ones. This is right now. Until like maybe like a couple of years or 1 year ago, this was like nearly mentioned. So somebody was starting to implement it, and maybe in 1 year, next year, this will change. From my own experience is that decide depending on all of those questions that I have mentioned here. From my experience working with different type of clients and with different type of methodologies, strategies, and whatever, evaluate, assess what's better for you, for your team, for the product, for achieving the deadlines, for achieving the objectives, decide based on the answers that you can get from those questions, not just follow what it's in commonly being used in the market. Not always works. It's okay that you have like the whole knowledge, what's happening in the market. You can have this knowledge. It's important that you have it because you can identify that there's something new that you can use. But it doesn't mean that you have to use it in your team or in your company. So assess, evaluate, start asking all of those questions that I presented, and with all of the answers, decide which is best.
Thank you, Ariadna. So we have a few more minutes left, and I guess we can take one more. So I see that like there is a discussion in the chat about the codeless automation, right? There are no questions, but some comments about that. What's your opinion on codeless automation? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I would say that at least you have to make sure that you are achieving the goals, the objectives, and you are covering all the test cases scenarios that you are expecting to cover. I mean, if you know which are like all the test cases scenarios that this product shall be assured, for assuring the quality, for assuring that you are delivering something that has been tested, at least make sure that all of those test cases scenarios that you have thought, that you have written down or not, whatever, are covered. So doesn't matter how you do it. If this is manual, if this is automation, coding, codeless, whatever, assure that you are delivering quality. Assure that you are covering those test cases scenarios that you have thought about, that you are meeting the expectations from the product that you are delivering.
Thank you, Ariadna. So we have one last question that I can see in the chat, and it's a sad one, right? So it's about layoffs in the industry. So basically, Amar is asking, like, what can you do like right now if you lose your job, right? So how can you restart your career?
I would say that always keep up to date. I mean, read, join several groups in LinkedIn and Slack. So keep up to date with the new trends, with the market trends, with the new technologies. Don't give it away. Even if you have or do not have a job, you need to keep up to date. Our job, the engineering, the technology changes like every day. So you must have all this kind of information. Then if you lose a job, but you are like being trained, you are like keeping up to date, you are reading a lot, maybe you would reinvent yourself and you will discover something that it's more interesting for you. And maybe you will train about that and you will work about that and you will find a new job for that. So the basic thing is that always keeping up to date and reading and training themselves and basically that. But for sure, for technology, I think that there's always job, one way or another.
Thanks, Ariadna. So that was the last one, and I believe we are on time, so it's a great timing. Once again, thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Ariadna. Ariadna, is there anything that you want to tell our listeners today?
No, basically, as I said, so make your decisions based on what you have learned, on lessons learned, past in your experiences, on what you have seen, on answering the previous questions that I just mentioned. Make your decision based on what you are seeing, not on what it's expected to be. And thank you all for attending this webinar. It was really interesting answering all your questions.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. And thanks, Ariadna. Thank you for spending your time with us. Yeah, I mean, stay tuned and we'll have more of those sessions coming up. Thanks, everyone. Take care and goodbye.